Okay, we're going to do some dumplings. Now, dumplings are kind of an art. So, it's kind of hard for me just to show you and you get them right the very first time you ever do it. Unless you do a drop dumpling. And I think you might could do that pretty easy. So I'm going to show you how to do both of them. We like flat dumplings because that's the way we were raised eating them. And so I'm going to show you how to do a flat dumpling, but I'm also going to show you how to do a drop dumpling, which are kind of like the dumplings in the Cracker Barrel chicken and dumplings, which I'm not crazy about. It's just like a lot of dough to me. But let's get started. Now I'm going to use the Southern biscuit mix because it's a shortcut and that's what I like to use. I live in the South, so I'm taking advantage of it. If you can't get Southern biscuit mix, I suggest you make your own biscuit mix and keep it in a container if you're going to use a lot of it, or just mix up a recipe of biscuit mix that's off the self-rising flour bag. Now, we're going to add sweet milk. When you make dumplings, you have to use sweet milk. If you use buttermilk, they will separate as soon as they hit the water and just spread out like crazy. I could show you an example of one just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, since this is a dumpling. Now see, I'm mixing these and I'm barely putting enough milk in them that they can just get all the flour out of the bowl. And that's all I'm doing. Now, we're going to flour the counter. I find it easier just to flour my counter than to fill with parchment paper and have to clean that up. I use a scraper, and so it's so much easier to clean up if you use the scraper. Alright. Now, the first video I did, I got my biscuit mix a little wetter than I normally do. This one I didn't. It was pretty dry to start with. And when I say dry, girls and boys, whoever's cooking, I don't mean dry like dry as a bone. I just mean it's not all doughy and sticky like a biscuit. So I'm gonna, you kind of just, I'm trying to think. 1, 2, 3. That's 3 turns. And that's 4. Now I would probably do one more, 5. And that's about perfect. So we're going to roll these out. Now you can do dumplings any way you want to do dumplings. It's pretty much just a biscuit dipped in your water. Now, when I was young, I didn't take the time to cut my dumplings. I just pick them up like this, pull them off, and throw them in my dumpling pan. If you want to do them that way, you can. You can kind of see in my hand about how thin it is. But when it hits the water, it's going to puff up. But now once it cooks, it's going to be close to that thin again once it cooks down. So if you're wanting a fat dumpling, then you're going to have to create a dumpling that's fat. And sometimes the hard thing about that is when you drop them in the water, they want to separate. So when I do dumplings, I roll them out about that thin. And I use a pizza cutter just because it's quick. And it's up to you how big or how little you want to make them. Whatever you start making, your family's going to like it. It's probably not going to matter what it is. And this is the way I make dumplings. Now, I'm going to show you how to make a spoon dumpling as well. And that way, if that's the kind you like the kind that are at Cracker Barrel, I'm not going to make that many because, alright, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of milk. I just barely want to wet the dough. Still not quite there. It's better to put in a little bit at a time than to put in a whole lot and then have to start over or add more biscuit dough. Well, I just did that. I just put in a whole lot. I just did what I told you not to do. That's life, ain't it? Alright, here we go. I'm going to put some more biscuit in there. Bad thing about that is if you're making your own biscuit mix, you can't just grab some more biscuit mix. So don't do like I just did. If that's the way you're doing it. Now I'm going to put this out on my counter. And I'm going to put a little flour on it because they can't be so soft that they separate. So what I'm going to do is just try to, they're pretty thick, see. I'm going to put it back in here. We'll just fork it, stir it back up together, and then we're just going to drop them in with a spoon. But all I did is put a little bit more flour on them to make them just a little bit drier. Alright, let's get over here to my boiling water and get this party started. So there's our dough for our drop dumplings. Okay? And here's our flat dumplings. Now, when you make dumplings, you want to make sure that your water is boiling when you put in your dumpling. So, I'm going to show you how to drop these spoon ones. I'm just going to cut them off with my hand. Kind of roll them like a ball. Now if you make them like this, it's going to take them a lot longer to get done. Usually my dumplings are done in about 10 minutes after I put them in the pot, and then I turn it down on low so that they don't burn because they're real bad about sticking, because they'll thicken this broth and then they'll start sticking to the bottom. Now that's a pretty big dumpling. And you may want to get you a little flour and bring over here so they don't keep sticking to your hands. But you can see them floating in there. Alright, now I'm going to put in some of mine. You can see mine are just long and skinny. And they're going to go in as well. I guess I should throw all of our big ones in first. The kids will eat them, because it takes them longer to cook. And you don't have to make them as big as I'm making them. You can make them smaller. You can make them little bitty tiny balls, but they're going to swell up pretty big anyway. But you can see that they're cooking, and right now they're raw, and they're puffy, and they're big. And now they're going to get smaller once they start cooking.